A major client meeting, my manager sitting right next to me, all smiles, pretending everything's perfect. I look down at my phone and hit send. Within seconds, my resignation email lands in the inboxes of every executive in that room. 10 minutes later, chaos. Faces red, whispers flying, the meeting falls apart. But this was the moment I'd been waiting for. After years of being overworked, underpaid, and ignored, I finally got my revenge. If you've ever had a boss who treated you like you were disposable, hit that like button. Because today's story? It's about getting the respect, the pay, and the peace of mind they tried to deny me for years. Let's rewind a few years. I worked for one of the biggest digital agencies in the country, the kind that boasted about innovation, team culture, and work-life balance in every company email, but didn't live by a single one of those words. My role was crucial. I wasn't just another employee. I was the guy keeping their core software systems alive. If something went down, clients lost money. And if clients lost money, the agency lost contracts. And who was responsible for making sure that never happened? Yeah, me. I was on call 24/7. Weekends, holidays, birthdays didn't matter. If a server blinked at 3 a.m., my phone lit up. I remember one Christmas Eve, my family was opening gifts, and my laptop was glowing on the dinner table because one client's dashboard had a memory leak. That's when I realized this job was eating me alive. So naturally, after another successful year keeping everything running flawlessly, I asked for a raise. I thought it was a no-brainer. I had saved them from at least 2 potential outages that could have cost hundreds of thousands. My manager looked me straight in the eyes and said, "We appreciate your dedication, but now's not the right time." I smiled politely, but inside, something cracked. Year after year, I asked again. Every time, same response: budget constraints, market conditions. You're doing great. Keep it up. And every time, they found another way to pile more work on me. When I begged for an assistant, they said, "We don't think it's necessary. You're handling things just fine." Translation: as long as you keep suffering quietly, we'll keep profiting off it. I was exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. But I still cared about the clients, and I didn't want to let them down. That loyalty was my biggest mistake. 6 months later, we had another performance review. Same promises, same fake smiles, same empty words. This time, I didn't bother arguing. I just nodded and decided that was the last time they'd ever waste my breath. Because what they didn't know was that I'd already been approached by one of their competitors. They offered me a 40% pay bump, reasonable hours, and an actual team to share the load. Felt unreal, like someone finally saw my worth. But I wasn't going to leave quietly. No, I wanted them to feel the loss. A week later came the big one. A meeting with our second largest client to renew their contract. Millions of dollars on the line. I was there to go over the SLA, uptime guarantees, support structure, all that technical stuff. The room was filled with suits, the client's executives, my boss, HR, and 2 higher-ups who barely even knew my name. We were halfway through the meeting when I opened my phone to reread the competitor's offer. My manager leaned over, smirking. "Looking for another raise, huh?" I just smiled. Something like that. Then, right there at that long oak conference table, I tapped reply. "I accept your offer." Within 5 minutes, the signed contract was in my inbox. And with one deep breath, I opened a new email. To HR, my manager, and every executive in the room. Subject: formal resignation, effective immediately. I hit send. Sound effect: email sent, whoosh. Silence. Then the CEO's phone buzzed. He looked down, his smile froze, and his face turned the color of a ripe tomato. You could feel the tension in the air shift. The room went dead quiet. The client looked around, confused. My manager whispered, "What the hell are you doing?" I said calmly, "Exactly what I've been asking for 3 years. Doing what's best for me." He sputtered something about timing and professionalism. But it was too late. The CEO called for a pause, and they escorted me out of the room like I'd set off a bomb. Outside the meeting, HR pulled me aside, practically begging for an explanation. So I gave it to them, Every ignored raise request, every unpaid weekend, every broken promise. They just stared, speechless. I walked out of that building lighter than I'd felt in years. No guilt, no second thoughts. And within days, I started my new job. New team, new culture, better pay, respect. For the first time in forever, I could sleep through the night without fearing a 2 a.m. call. 1 year later, word got around, as it always does in this industry. That client I'd been meeting with, they renewed the contract that year, but by the next renewal cycle they were done. The new guy couldn't handle the workload, uptime dropped, and the agency missed their SLA targets again and again. Eventually, the client pulled out, taking millions in annual revenue with them. And guess where they moved their business? That's right, to my new company. I didn't even have to pitch. They requested me by name. Months later, I heard through the grapevine that my old employer had started downsizing. They blamed a harsh market, but everyone knew the truth. They'd lost too many clients, too many good people, and honestly, felt poetic. They ignored the people who built their success, and the universe simply collected the debt. So yeah, when I look back at that moment, hitting send on that resignation email mid-meeting, I don't feel regret. I feel peace. Because sometimes, revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about reclaiming yourself, your worth, your sanity, your life. They thought I was replaceable. Turns out, I was the glue holding it all together. And when the glue leaves, everything falls apart. I guess the lesson is simple. If you keep giving everything to people who give you nothing back, eventually you'll have nothing left for yourself. Know your worth, and don't be afraid to make them remember it. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe for more true stories of sweet, satisfying revenge. And tell me in the comments, have you ever quit a toxic job in a way that made them really regret it? Because sometimes the best revenge is just moving on to something better.